Mr. Schimmel, how's it going, sir? Michael Barr, how's your night going? Just my camera here, guys. Still prepping a little bit for tonight's live cast. Alright guys, give me a second to kind of readjust and then we'll be rocking and rolling tonight.
Not too close, I need to get back.
So we got a couple guys just started, guys. We're just now went live. We got a couple guys in the shop tonight, so we got old Jim Hines in the background.
Hi, everybody.
Drilling some blanks in the lathe, and we got Corey Clerkley over here.
Still wanting a flip cup hybrid.
With his subtle hints. Steve, how's it going, sir? Chad, that'll be Jim Hines and Corey Clerkley.
Oh,
Jason Rose, how's it going, sir?
You want me to log on so I can see what you see?
Alright, so what we're going to do tonight, guys, is we're going to go through the step-by-step process on how to cast Alumilite, Alumilite clear. We're going to do the 7-minute one, so it's not Alumilite slow. We get this from Curtis Seebeck at turntex.com. Really good guy, a really great product. So does require a pressure pot, so we're going to be casting with Alumilite tonight. We're also going to go over how to cast with liquid diamonds. You can get available at turnerswarehouse.com, who I want to give a special thanks to Turner's Warehouse and Chad Schimmel for letting me do the live cast tonight on it. And then last but not least, we'll be casting with US Composites Silmar 41 polyester resin. Polyester resin is the only resin that you do not require a pressure pot on. You can use it to be safe than sorry, but it's not a requirement. Good deal. So first thing first, guys, we're going to get some rubber gloves. I make a mess when casting resin, so I always wear rubber gloves to help prevent dyeing or staining my hands blue for a week. Tonight we'll be using molds from P-Town Subby that are available at ptownsubby.com and also on turnerswarehouse.com. So we will use the pink mold for the polyester resin and Alumilite, and then we'll use our blue mold for the epoxy resin, which is right here. With Alumilite and liquid diamonds, we're going to require stoner spray. This is a mold release. Per the instructions, you Shake well before using and hold can 10 to 12 inches. So we're going to shake this for a little bit and we'll spray our molds with it. Fred Wisson. Jason, how's it going, sir? Tim, yes sir, I finally got some blue molds. I always kind of try to spray 2 different ways. That way I kind of make sure I get a good coverage on the mold. We'll let that sit and dry for a minute. And then we'll start casting. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to cast with Alumilite clear first. Tony Warner gave me the idea tonight, so we're going to cast with that. So we'll let it sit up in the pressure pot while we're casting our liquid diamonds and our polyester resin. So what we'll do is we'll do a round of Alumilite, go over that. While it's curing, we'll mix our liquid diamonds, and then while that's heating up, we will go right into casting with polyester resin. So one thing I recommend is getting a scale. This is a good one from Walmart. Okay, perfect. I want it in a spot that y'all can see it. And what we'll do is we'll do do y'all want a flip cup pour? Well, we can do an Alumilite flip cup pour tonight. So a flip cup pour, guys, is where we're going to take our resin. We're going to give ourselves 8 ounces of resin total, so it'd be 24 ounces. We're going to pour it in 1 jar, or 1 cup, which is these clear American flavored cups that I get from Walmart. I've got a mark here, which is 24 ounces to the top. We'll fill all the resin in here, and then we'll actually flip it into the mold. So we'll do that. Oops. We'll do that. So just curious, is anybody out there casting with me tonight?
It's 7 colors.
Tim, we're not going to do 7 colors. I can't do 7 colors tonight. We'll zero out our cup. And then with Alumilite, so Alumilite is a 50-50 mix. So we measure by weight to be more accurate. It's okay to have a hair more B than A, because B is your hardener. So, oops, hit the camera, sorry. So it's what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pour, and I believe it is 120 is what we did last time. With seven minutes to pressure pot, you know, Tim, I don't know if I could do 7. I'm sure if I was mixing crazy and had some help, I could probably do 7 colors, but I can't do 7 just all willy-nilly. So what we're doing right now is we're measuring our part A. We're putting 120 grams of part A in. Oh, we got a little too much. Just confirm that if it's half a gram, I'm not too worried about half a gram. But 120 is what we've got. So from here, guys, we've got 120 grams in a 9-ounce cup. We need 8 ounces total. But we've got 120 grams in each cup, and this is of part A Alumilite. So at this point, you're going to want to come over here and you're going to want to mix in your mica powder. So we will we'll use some Caster's Choice colors here. So I really would like to use chocolate tonight. We'll do chocolate, midnight purple, and sunrise yellow. So sunrise yellow and chocolate are the colors that are getting shipped to Turner's Warehouse tomorrow. So they should hopefully be available by the end of this week. Another key note, guys, is make sure you have plenty of paper towels with you because it can get messy. Alright. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll mix our mica first. Sean's favorite color is always orange. So Sean, we'll bust out the Blaze Orange with the polyester resin. So this is how you're going to get your Caster's Choice mica powders right off the shelf. So we have this perforated clear plastic to keep the lid on from spilling during shipping. You'll just pull that off, throw that away, open it up. You've got a foam pad to kind of keep it in there, and then we have our mica powder. So you always want to mix your mica first before you add your part B. This allows you to have time to you can play with it. You can add some more mica in. You can kind of perfect the color that you want before you're under that time crunch. So one thing to remember when you're actually casting Alumilite and you're mixing your part A in is you need to add enough mica for both parts, A and B. So what I'm going to do is I'll add the mica in. This right here is going to be midnight purple. Put a little bit more in. It's going to take a second to stir in just because it is a good amount of mica, but that's your midnight purple. See if I can get the camera to focus on it.
Yeah, I can do it.
Then we'll do is we'll move along to chocolate. Now chocolate is a color that when I tested them, I was just wowed by it. It really does look like chocolate. I'll show you guys right now. Gene, you know there's no rule of thumb on precisely how much mica you can add. I know there's some really experienced guys like Eugencio Soto, who does muttblanks.com. He measures it out per gram, but that guy's like a machine of awesome blanks. But he measures it out per gram. I still measure it per eye or by eyesight. But it's really up to your personal preference. Personally, I like a lot of mica. I like it to pop and to bling. There's some guys that just like a hint to show the depth of it. It's really a personal preference. And that's your chocolate.
So the color you get, will it drastically change once it becomes blank, or is that the color you're going to get?
Nope, the color, so Alumilite clear cures clear. Polyester resin cures clear, and liquid diamonds cures clear. So the colors that you have when mixing are going to be the colors that you get when it cures. And then finally, last but not least, would be sunrise yellow. Oops, just made a little mess. Then we just mix our mic in. You always want to mix with paper cups. I do not recommend wax cups. With Alumilite, you can cast with plastic cups or solo cups. I personally just always recommend paper cups with polyester resin and liquid diamonds. As it heats up, it can actually remove the wax from the cup into your resin. So I always just recommend paper cups for that reason. Plus, they're fairly cheap. They're really cheap. And here's your Sunrise Yellow. So we'll cap this and clean up our mess for a second so we don't get mica powder everywhere. Mr. Powell, how are you doing, sir? Okay, so one thing that I'll do is, we know that there's 120 grams of A in each cup. So what I will do is I'll put the cup, mica and all, on the scale, and I'll take my part B and I'll pour it in an empty cup. And then all I have to do is let this number hit 120, and that you've got your proper mix. David Bouton. Trying to make sure y'all can see the number. But once we get to 120, perfect. So now we'll mix it a little bit. I filled it just a little too high, but that's perfectly fine. It's more important for you to get a 50-50 mix than being scared to overfill the cup. So the fact that I'm right on the edge, I'd rather be a 50-50 mix right on the edge than shorting my 50-50 mix. So now we'll go to chocolate. Same thing. I can control the smaller cup better than I can the big jug. So putting a smaller cup on it makes it easier for me to pour and kind of control my numbers. Oops. A hair more B is okay. One or 2 grams more B than A is perfectly fine. Actually, Zach Higgins recommends doing a gram or so more B than A. He says it actually will give you a little bit clearer of a blank. You don't have to worry about it going having the white streaks in it. With the mica, it's if you're doing clear and you've got a 50-50 mix with mica, you shouldn't have to worry about any white streaks. Hopefully, a couple things that can give you white streaks in your blanks is going to be an improper mix or humidity. Humidity is not your friend. If it is raining outside, it's just not worth casting, guys. Yes, you can get away with a good cast every now and then, but honestly, if it's polyester resin, it's going to make it a little bit brittle. It can make it a little bit brittle. If it's Alumilite, it can cause it to have the white streaks. Kyle Hobbs, how you doing, sir?
Epoxy will take longer to cure.
And then what Jim Hines said, the epoxy resin it'll delay the cure time. So now that we've got our part A and part B mixed, we're going to time ourselves. So it's 8:49 right now. This is 7-minute epoxy because at 7 minutes it starts to set up. So we're just going to constantly stir. We're going to make sure we have a good mix between the part A and part B. And when we get close to that 6-7 mark, we'll do our flip cup and we'll put it in a pressure pot. I put all my blanks under 40 pounds of PSI. I do use Harbor Freight pressure pots, but I do not recommend ever taking them to the max pressure. So I always keep mine at 40 pounds. It takes care of all the bubbles or any issues that and it's done really well for me. Jerry Linton, how's it going, sir? And then we got our last one, which is our chocolate. We're just gonna make sure this is mixed really well. Doing good. If I'm casting, I'm always doing good. I absolutely love casting, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. Brent, welcome to the live feed. So another one way to check, guys, because I get the question a lot. How do you make sure you have enough Pearl-Ex? Well, it is a personal preference. But one way you can do it is by pulling your popsicle stick out and see all that mica. See how it covers the popsicle stick. If you don't have a whole lot, you'll be able to see through and see that popsicle stick where that chocolate brown covers that whole stick. You'd be able to see through the clear resin and see the popsicle stick. Yes, sir. I've got Jim Hines in the background drilling blanks.
Is it making too much noise?
I don't know.
Ask them.
Guys, is Jim drilling making too much noise? I saw Tim's response, but I didn't see Bill's comment, so there might be so many people that I'm missing your comments, guys. If I am, apologize about that.
No.
Okay. If it does, tell them to let me know and I'll knock it off.
Yeah, if it gets too noisy here, guys, you guys at the live feed are more important. So I'll just throw something. I'll throw the caster's choice of your choosing at Jim.
Might come right back at you.
Okay, Mike Shortness said there's some background noise, but not too bad. Okay, guys, so what we're doing now basically is it's a it's a time game. Right now, you can be doing a couple things since we are under 7 minutes. Recommend getting your mold. We did spray this with mold release, which I recommend anytime using Alumilite or liquid diamonds. We're gonna get our cup. Ready. I do already have the cups marked to the 24 ounce mark. The 24 ounces is 24 fluid ounces, and that is what fits inside of one of these P-Town subby blocks.
Why did I give it a time?
So, other than that, guys, you just want to kind of keep keep your eye on the time. You want to make sure it has a really good mix. And then last but not least, you also can feel the cup heat up. As the cup starts to heat up, that's your Alumilite reacting, and that's your Alumilite starting to set up. So as you guys cast more, you'll be able to feel that difference. Yep, Justin, this is Sunrise Yellow is what this is. Caster's Choice Sunrise Yellow. So, I think it's going to be a pretty good mix. So your accent color is always going to be the first color you pour into your flip cup. So we'll probably do chocolate as our accent color, and then we'll let the purple and yellow fight for the dominant. I've done a number of flip cup pours, but you can never tell which one's going to be the more dominant between the top two colors that you add. I can just tell you that the first color at the bottom of the flip cup will be the accent color. Okay, so we're at 5 minutes right now, guys. So we will make sure that we've got our pressure pot ready. Okay, so the pressure pot's at my feet, guys, so you won't be able to see me actually put it into the pot. But one thing is this Alumilite's starting to thicken up, so it's definitely about time to pour, and I can feel it with my left hand heating up. So it's definitely showing the signs of getting ready. But as with all casting, you want to wait till the very last moment. The longer you wait, the more color separation you're going to have. If you pour it too early, then you can the colors blend together. If you have colors in the same family, like orange and yellow or yellow and red, it actually looks really good. But as far as brown or chocolate and sunrise yellow, it might not look so great. Okay, so here we go, guys. We're 6 minutes into the 7 minutes, and here we go. So do chocolate brown. Sunrise yellow. And last but not least, midnight purple. Oops. Try not to make a mess. Okay. Take your mold, put it upside down in your cup, flip it over, and then pour your cup. And that right there is the Alumilite flip cup pour. So I'm going to take this, put it into the pressure pot, and I'm going to get this under 40 pounds of pressure right now. Okay. Right now I'm tightening the clamps to the pressure pot. Okay. And here we go, 40 pounds. Okay, guys. Now, that is under 40 pounds of PSI. Tim, that's a great question. So, it is Alumilite clear. So, it should be able to pull out of the pot in 30 minutes. So, what we're going to do is we're going to continue on with our live feed, and then we'll actually pull that out of the pot before our live feed ends tonight. So, if you guys will hang out for me for a bit, you guys hang out with me for a bit, we'll be able to pull that from the pressure pot. Okay, so now that we've cast our Alumilite, we're going to move on to liquid diamonds. Do any of y'all have any questions about the Alumilite pour?
Man, we could have made a purple blank.
All right, friends.
The next pour, Tim, is going to be with liquid diamonds. Just as soon as I clean up my mess here. So, we've got I accidentally wiped off the stoner, so let me touch it with stoner. Stoner is the mold release that you can get at Turner's Warehouse or ptownsubby.com. We've sprayed our mold with mold release. So that's going to ensure that the Alumilite blanks and the epoxy blanks pop off and that it lengthens the life of your molds. Oh, Tim, I keep liquid diamonds under pressure all night. So,
9.
let's see, that's going to be about 8 or 9 hours is what I keep mine under pressure.
9 minimum.
Randy McBurney, welcome to the live feed, sir. Okay, so what we'll do now is we're going to go into casting with liquid diamonds. We're going to get our cups out. We'll just do flip cup pours tonight, guys. So so what we'll do is we'll do sorry guys, I've got a second phone here, so I'm trying to get to the live feed, so it helps me keep track of when you guys are talking, because on my phone that's filming, the nice phone that I will not be dropping into the I won't be dropping into the resin. I wanted to make sure that it or I can catch what you guys are talking or asking, or any questions that might come up. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll do the liquid diamonds. So liquid diamonds is not like Alumilite. Alumilite is going to be a 50-50 mix. Liquid diamonds is 2 parts A, which is your resin, and 1 part B. Randy, what are you booing? Oh, you want me to cast my phone. That's it. So what we'll do is we'll do 2 parts A, which is your resin, and then we'll introduce 1 part B, which is your hardener. Now with liquid diamonds, guys, the best temperature to pour your liquid diamonds is anywhere between 130 and 140 degrees. That's going to be it's going to be thick enough, it's going to be hot enough to allow you the color separation that you want. And the best way to do that is with just a infrared thermometer. And you can get these at Amazon. So we'll get our scale back out. Move our cups out of the way. Clean off our scale. Tim, you want blue? Blue, purple, and silver, okay? We'll do sky blue. We can do violet. And for silver, let's use the pewter. So, we'll mix our 2 parts A, which we'll do, guess we'll do 150. And then 1 part B. Now with liquid diamonds, you have enough time that you can mix it all together all at once, and you'll have enough time that you don't have to worry about it. So half of 150 is going to be 75, so we'll mix it till it's 225. Oops, a hair more hardener is okay, guys. So that right there is going to be our first liquid diamonds. Then we'll come back here, we'll do the same thing. We'll do 150 grams of A, which is our 2 part. Then we'll do 75 grams. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see that number. Let me know if I end up blocking it. Sorry, guys. That's 150 grams of part A. So then we'll add 75 grams of part B. Liquid Diamonds is a lot thinner of an epoxy than Alumilite is. Alumilite is a urethane, so it's not an epoxy, but as far as consistency goes, or viscosity goes, it's a lot thinner. It's not like, Liquid Diamonds is not like water, but it's close. So you just want to make sure that you don't slosh it or make any sudden movements, because you may or may not, you know, spill a bunch of Liquid Diamonds in your kitchen and have to clean it off the tile floor.
And always wear eye protection.
And always wear eye protection. That is true, guys. I know sometimes we roll our eyes at safety and stuff, but anytime you're casting resin, especially if you're using hardeners, catalysts, or MEKP, you definitely want to wear eye protection. You know, you can drop something and it splash back up and hit you in the eye. You just want to be very careful of that. Okay, so now that we've mixed 2 part of our resin, 1 part hardener, we're going to come here. This is Liquid Diamonds that we're doing, and we're going to mix our colors in now. So Liquid Diamonds, we probably have a 45-minute setup time or so we've got plenty of time to mix our mica in and to get our consistencies right. One thing that I did on the last video that really helped, and I'm going to do it this because it takes so long. We normally cast our PR, polyester resin. So on the, if you're casting different resins, guys, at the same time, you can always just put on the top of your popsicle stick, you know, LD for Liquid Diamonds, AL for Alumilite. I cast with 3 different resins almost at all times that I'm casting, so doing this kind of saves me from making a mistake or getting confusing. There you go. Sarah's already said she's going to love this blank, so y'all are going to have to fight her if you want one of these blanks. So, now we're going to introduce our Caster's Choice Mica powder. I personally like a lot of mica. I like it to be able to pop and have that pearl to it. When you stir, I always stir, I don't know, 30, 40 times. And then what I'll do is I'll scrape the edge of the cup and then I'll stir the opposite way. So right now we're stirring counterclockwise. And then I'll come back, scrape the edge of the cup, and I'll stir clockwise. So I say this a lot, guys, anytime I'm mixing resin. It doesn't matter if it's Alumilite, Liquid Diamonds, or polyester resin. You cannot over stir. You cannot over mix your A and your B, or your resin and your catalyst. You can't over mix it. The more you stir, the better mix you're going to get, which is the more consistent blank you're going to have while turning. Oh yeah, I'll make sure to post updates on how these blanks come out. So this right here, guys, is our violet purple. Next, we're going to go into sky blue. Michael Goldsmith, how you doing, sir? So, this is Liquid Diamonds. I still recommend using the paper cups for all of them. You could use a, well, with Liquid Diamonds, I definitely recommend using a paper cup. The reason being is we're going to wait until it heats up to 140 degrees before we pour it. So what you don't want is you don't want to end up melting that solo cup. There are, if you look at the recycle grade numbers in the bottom, there are thicker grades that'll stand up to heat a little bit better. I think it's the 5 is what Fred Wisson recommended. Personally, I'd rather just not worry about it, and I cast with these paper cups. Plus, they're available at Walmart or Sam's, and I believe it's like $15 for 300 of them. So I mean, it's a really good deal, very cost effective to use these. So this right here is our sky blue. Dave Sloan, welcome to the live cast. So we've got our violet purple, we've got our sky blue. So now let's get our pewter. So this is our pewter. And I'm using about, I'm eyeballing it, so it's not precise, guys, but I use about the same mica for everything. I want to kind of keep it consistent. You want to be able to, if you have the same amount of mica in each cup, it kind of guarantees that they're all going to set up at the exact same time or close enough that you don't have to worry about it. Where this is really kind of obvious is with polyester resin. If you've got a lot of mica in one cup, and little mica in the other, the one that's got a lot will always thicken up faster. It won't heat up. Polyester resin doesn't heat up until it already starts to cure, but it can thicken up. And that's our pewter. So now that we've got, oops, need to stir the blue a little bit better. Now that we've got our colors mixed, we're going to give them a couple more good stirs on each color, and then we're going to take the temperature. So with liquid diamonds, if you're color pouring, the best temperature is between 130 and 140 degrees. So we'll get these out of the way. Get our thermometer. It's a pretty cool night. So right now we're at 65.6 degrees. So we almost have to double in temperature. So we got plenty of time, guys, to let this set up. So what we'll do is we're going to set this in the background, and we are going to, as it heats up, since it normally takes about 30 to 40 minutes, we're going to bust out our polyester resin, and we'll do a polyester resin flip cup pour. Okay, so just to go over it, I don't have the jug in front of me tonight, guys. Sorry about that. I just have the 5-gallon bucket. But let me see. Maybe I can do it. I'll get the empty one so that way I don't. There. So we're casting tonight with U.S. Composites Silmar 41 clear casting resin. So you can see right here. Use 1% with MEKP. MEKP is your catalyst. So that's going to be your catalyst. That's what reacts with the polyester resin to allows it to cure. So what we'll be doing is we'll be doing a flip cup pour. With polyester resin. So same thing as before, basically. We've got our cup, which is the clear casting resin. We've got our line here, which is the 24 fluid ounces. Sean, that blue right here is sky blue. That is, let me see if I can find it here. I just moved it to something. Right here, it's the sky blue. Is this blue right here. Make sure the light hits it for you. So, with polyester resin, you're going to want to use 1% MEKP. MEKP comes in a bottle like this. MEKP, guys, is methyl ethyl ketone peroxide. It's extremely flammable. You want to be very careful with this. You want to be able to you want to wear eye protection. If this gets in your eyes, it can actually cause you to go blind. So this is something not to play around with. It's something very, very harmful for you. It can also cause skin irritation. So with your MEKP, you're going to use 1%, which is 5 drops per ounce. So it's a colder night tonight since we're in the 60s. So we're going to be probably doing 6 drops per ounce, maybe 6.5, but we'll do that when we pour. So we'll be doing 24 ounces, fluid ounces, and we'll be pouring it into this same square mold. Sorry, mine's a little dirty. These are from pitonsubby.com. Here you go. This one, you can see this name a lot better. So these are also available at Turner's Warehouse. So we've got our mold here. It's 24 ounces to the brim, which is our 7/8 thick mold, which is 3 8-ounce cups. These are 9-ounce paper cups. So if you go right about here, that's your 8 ounces. If you go over, it's okay. You'll just have a little bit more of resin to pour into a blank or a bottle stopper mold, or over pour, or just trash it if you want to. So what we'll do is we're going to fill up our cups with polyester resin. I'm pouring from a 5-gallon bucket tonight, so I can't really show you guys with Silmar 41. That's 1 cup. This is going to be our 2nd cup. And finally, this is going to be our 3rd cup. So we're done pouring, so we'll cap the polyester resin. Anytime you're not using your resin, guys, cap it. The more you have the cap on, or the more you have the cap off, the more susceptible they are to humidity, to moisture, to everything. So you just want to make sure, rule of thumb, if you're not using it, to leave it capped. So colors for, I know Sean wanted blaze orange. We could do blaze orange. We'll do brilliant blue.
Use something in the same family.
And bronze. Huh?
Use something in the same family. Remember when you were saying the time, how they separate or won't mix.
So you want
So that's what you
orange would be. We don't have a red. We have a pink. We could do pink raspberry.
We tell them about 7
So,
at the same time.
Yeah. So it's one of those. So what Corey's talking about. Sorry guys, I've got Corey over here beside me. So what Corey's talking about is what we talked about earlier. So if you want the best color separation possible, you want to wait till the very last moment, right before all of them cure, or before your resin cures. So with the 7-minute epoxy, that's right at that 6.5, 7 minutes. With polyester resin, it's right when it's so thick it's about to gel up. And with liquid diamonds, it's probably about 160 degrees. But honestly, guys, 160 degrees is very hot, and it's kind of painful to pour. I just ripped my glove, so let me get a new glove. 130 does good color separation, and it's a little bit more manageable for me to pour. So that's why I recommend that 140 degree mark. Okay, so we're about to. So what we're going to do is we're about to introduce our mica. Once we introduce our mica, it allows us to get a good idea of your color, or of the consistency, the mica coverage that you want. After you get the desired color, the desired mix, then you want to introduce your MEKP. With polyester resin, it's MEKP is going to be the very end. You don't want to mix mica after you introduce your MEKP. So before we go ahead and start mixing our polyester resin, let's hit this with the thermometer once again, just to check and see. We've gone up 5 degrees. So, Mike, no problem. I really do enjoy it, guys. And if you guys have any questions at all, or please feel free to. So, what we're casting now is we're casting polyester resin. You do not require a pressure pot with polyester resin, so we're going to flip it right here, and we're just going to let it sit on the countertop tonight. So, we're going to mix our colors. We're going to write PR on our popsicle stick, so that way we can make sure it's obvious we're casting with polyester resin. Jack, welcome to the live feed. So, first color first, Sean, this is Sean's favorite color. It's going to be Blaze Orange. So with your resins, guys, you basically just keep stirring. It's going to take, 40, 50, stirs to get it mixed well. Scrape the cup on the reverse side, and then you come back. It's a pretty cold night tonight, guys. I think we're in the light 60s, so resin just a little bit thicker than normal. So what we're gonna do, since it hurts my hands, is I'm gonna bring out the big bad boys. So that's another thing, guys, is if you're mixing resin and it hurts your hands, or you have a problem, you can get jumbo popsicle sticks. Let me actually... Jeff, this is the same orange that I used in your blank, sir. So that's our orange, our Blaze Orange. This is our giant popsicle stick. Next, we're going to use Brilliant Blue. And these are these giant popsicle stick, guys. I know that these giant craft sticks is literally what they call them. Available at Home Depot. I'm sorry, not Home Depot. Walmart, Hobby Lobby, and Amazon is where you can get these.
I got it.
So, I just knocked over my drink, guys, so it's going crazy tonight. So, we're going to introduce our Brilliant Blue. It is kind of looking like a Broncos colors with these two colors. So, this is our Brilliant Blue we're mixing. So that's another trick, guys. If you do a lot of resin pouring and it starts to hurt your hand or your wrist, you can always use a bigger popsicle stick. It makes it easier to mix, easier to stir. Steve, how's it going? Robert, how's it going, sir? So, polyester resin, you always scrape my popsicle stick at the top like this, and it takes any excess mica and reintroduces it. Make sure it doesn't hang onto that popsicle stick. So make sure you get a full good mix of your mica and resin. So that is our brilliant blue. And then last but not least is our pink raspberry. This is a really cool color. So it's actually, it almost has the hue of red, but the pearl shines pink when it's mixed. So it kind of is a really pinkish red, really reddish pink. It's actually almost the exact color as a raspberry. So. Mike, that's a perfect question. So the biggest is polyester resin is a polyester resin. Liquid diamonds is an epoxy, and Alumilite is a urethane. That's going to be the biggest type of difference. If you're a beginner starting out and you have a well-ventilated area, I'm always going to recommend polyester resin. It's the most cost-effective way. It's the most cost-effective way to learning how to cast resin, but you do need a well-ventilated area. There are some fumes that come to it. With liquid diamonds and Alumilite, you definitely want a pressure pot anytime you mix colored blanks. I know that there's a couple guys out there that's saying that they're getting good results without using a pressure pot. If you're mixing, anytime you're stirring, you can see all these bubbles on the top. Anytime you're stirring as much as we are, you introduce air bubbles. So with liquid diamonds and with Alumilite, you're definitely going to require a pressure pot. So I guess the response to that would be polyester resin is a great resin to start learning how to cast blanks. You do not require a pressure pot. All you require is a well-ventilated area. That's the one I would recommend. What about finished product? Is one more turner friendly than the other? Any of them more or less brittle? Alumilite is probably, well, liquid diamonds, the epoxy resins and the urethane resins, which is Alumilite and liquid diamonds, they're going to battle with user friendly. What that means is that they can still turn. They're not going to chip out, especially if you have a dull blade. So I would say that Alumilite is probably the most turner friendly, especially with beginner turners. That being said, polyester resin is all about how you cast it. It's all about having the right mix with it and mixing it well. So I can send new turners my polyester resin blanks, and to quote the phrase, they turn like butter. If you don't use too much MEKP or you don't cast in the rain, polyester resin is an extremely versatile resin. To do. Polyester resin also polishes out very nicely. So I've been able to, Jim Hines and I have actually kind of tested the boundaries of each one, and we've been very successful with polyester resin, even
I dry sanded.
even tapping and threading it for kitless pens. For instance, this right here is a kitless polyester. This is my first kitless polyester resin pen. And please don't mind the ink on the nib, but you can tap it, you can thread it, and there's no problem. So with polyester resin, and that's something that I'm trying, it's actually why I do these live videos, is if you've got a good mix with polyester resin, it's a very versatile resin. You can use it in almost every means. Gene, I have not cast with West Marine Systems or West Epoxy. It's extremely expensive in my experience. I just haven't had the opportunity to try it. Jim Hines has this Max 16 epoxy. 1618, Max Epoxy 1618, that I'll probably be testing out on a couple live feeds in a couple weeks in the future. But as far as West Epoxy, I haven't done it. I will say though, as far as price wise goes, West Epoxy wouldn't be a very cost effective pin blank, in my opinion. How does polyester resin hold up to clear cast objects, or is it best to use epoxy for that kind of application? That might be polyester resin's best, Matthew. That might be its best use, is for clear casting. You do get a super clear casting with liquid diamonds. That is a new, or with really any epoxy resin, but with liquid diamonds in particular, you do get a really good clear cast. However, that is something that polyester resin is really good for, is giving you that clear glass finish on your label blanks, or I know Patterson Grant uses it for his True Card blanks. Neil Tremblett, how's it going, sir? So we're at 72 degrees. We got plenty of time. So now that we've got all of our mica mixed into our polyester resin the way we want it. I don't know if I showed you guys the raspberry, the pink raspberry. Now we're going to introduce our MEKP. We're going to do about six drops per ounce. Since it's cold. So that's going to be 48 drops a cup of your MEKP. So you guys are about to get to hear me count a little bit. So absolutely, guys. And if y'all have any questions, please feel free to ask. Or if I didn't answer your question, because I know I can kind of ramble sometimes, please let me know, and I'll do my best. So right now it is 9:32, so we're going to introduce our MEKP. It's a colder night. We're going to do 6 drops per ounce. Should take between 12 and 15 minutes to to thicken up. If it hasn't thickened up by then, we're just going to keep mixing it until it does thicken up. So at 9:32, it would be 9:44 to 9:47 when our resin is going to be ready to pour, and we have our cup to the side. Brandon Hooter, how's it going, sir? So here we go, guys. We're going to introduce our MEKP. Notice I took the cap off. Fresh MEKP is as important, if not more important, than fresh polyester resin. So this is extremely important, guys. So if y'all aren't using it, make sure the cap's on it. It's going to keep that humidity out, the moisture out. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Mix this, give it a good mix real quick. So with polyester resin, guys, that's another thing, is if you're mixing polyester resin, once you introduce your MEKP, you're going to keep mixing. You're just going to keep going down that line for that 12 to 15 minutes and keep mixing. The more you mix it, the more consistent and the better blank you're going to have. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, sorry, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Man, guys, I could count to 40 and I didn't even have to take my shoes off. I'm proud of myself.
Don't mind.
So we'll mix this real good, guys, and I always just give it a good initial stir just to make sure that MEKP isn't sitting at the top of it. And then we'll go to our last color, which is the pink raspberry, and we're going to count to 48. Be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. And now we'll mix our pink raspberry. So, like we talked about previous, we're not using it, so we're going to want to cap our MEKP, set it aside, we're done. Try to knock as much stuff off your shelf as you can when you're putting it back up. And here we go. So now, we've got our times, 12 to 15 minutes. We marked it down right here from when we first introduced our MEKP. And now we're just going to mix, guys. We're going to make sure. Best thing I can recommend is go back to thinking about how many times you had to stir when you had to stir your mica powder to get it mixed well. And that's at least how many times you need to stir your stir it after you've introduced the MEKP. Clean up my spill here. Got a little excited. So we're going to be, just keep stirring, guys. One thing is I'm not putting any pressure down onto the bottom of the cup. I'm just letting the bottom of the popsicle stick ride right above the bottom of the cup, and I'm just stirring. On the way back, when I switch, I do catch the edge and I stir the other way. And that's that brilliant blue. And then back to Blaze Orange, which might be my favorite orange. Okay. So like I said, guys, at this point with polyester resin, you just kind of want to bounce back and forth. Make sure you keep stirring them. The more you stir it, the better mix it's going to be. The better mix it's going to be, the more consistent blank you're going to have. And what that means is when you're turning it, everybody's had it where you're turning a blank and then there's a soft spot. So you're cutting real nice and then you cut real deep into it. The better you mix your polyester resin, the more you eliminate the having those soft spots. We're going to check on our liquid diamonds real quick. Give it a real quick stir. I haven't been able to feel it heat up in my fingers just yet, so let's check the temperature real quick on it. It is a cooler night. So we're at 78 degrees, 76, 76.6. So they're staying together. So they're rising. They've already rose a good 12 or 20 degrees, 18 degrees. So we'll just keep an eye on them as we are mixing our polyester resin. Brian, how's it going, sir? Glenn Red, welcome to the party. For those of you guys just now joining, what we've got is we've got liquid diamonds in the background. And then we've got polyester resin with these big popsicle sticks. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Hit the camera there for a second. Sorry about that. Okay, so what we'll be doing is we'll be doing a flip cup pour with both of these liquid diamonds and our polyester resin. And one thing that so this right here guys is kind of the waiting game. So it's It's 9:40, so we've got 4 to 7 minutes. So it's just one of those. It's just one of those you want to keep mixing. Just keep stirring. If one starts to really thicken up on you, then it's time to pour. So normally, if you keep your amount of dye drops, we didn't drip any dye in or put any dye in. But if you do enter your dye in, you want to kind of keep it consistent across the board. So if you put in about the same mica, if you put in about the same amount of dye, they're all going to set up around the same time. Once one starts to set up, that's the time that you pour. You don't have to wait for all three. You don't have to wait for 2 out of the 3. Once one starts to really thicken up and set up, that's when you want to pour. That's the time, because all you need is one of them to be a barrier to allow that color separation. Brilliant blue. And then the pink raspberry. I think we'll make our pink raspberry our accent color tonight. One thing that you can notice that I can never get on the camera, guys, is as polyester resin starts to thicken up, it actually starts to grab the cup. So instead of having a smooth, like it is sitting still, instead of having a smooth area where the resin hits the cup, the resin starts to grab and it starts to kind of bubble and wave at the edge when you're turning it. I can never get that to show up in the camera, but it is one of the first signs to let you know that your polyester resin is starting to thicken up.
You want to know how far behind you are?
You've got comments, I don't.
You want to put this one over there?
So, I guess I'm not being able to see your guys' comments. With PR, any worries about introducing air into the resin? Richard, so as the reason that you do not require pressure with polyester resin is because when polyester resin cures, it shrinks. And what it does, it basically eliminates all of its own bubbles. Saying that it's not 100% guarantee. You might still have a couple bubbles, but it requires it allows it to. Right now you can mix it like this. You can try to introduce. Our orange is actually thickening up, so it's time to pour right now. So, which we're at 9:43, so we're close enough. Yeah, so's our blue. So we are thick enough to pour, guys. So now it's time to do the flip cup pour with our polyester resin.
Said you don't think you see them because they're commenting on somebody's share.
Oh, that might be it. I'm stealing Corey's phone. Absolutely zero problem with putting polyester resin under pressure, guys. If you have a pressure pot and you want to guarantee 100% bubble-free blank, absolutely, you can put polyester resin underneath pressure. So here we go. We have our clear American water cup that Sarah drinks that I cut the lid off of. We've got our mark, and here we go. Your accent color, you always pour first into the resin. I don't know why, but it's our accent colors. And then the second and third color normally fight for dominance. So it's a 50-50 which one takes over on the flip. I haven't really quite figured that one out yet. And last but not least, our blaze orange. Take your mold from P-Town Subby, flip it upside down. And lift it up. Give it a second and it'll start to drip around the edges. I don't know if you can see that right there. And then just twist it off and there you go. If you are using polyester resin and you do not want to use a pressure pot and you just want to let it sit on the table like this, but you're worried about it having bubbles, you can always just tap your mold 10-15 times, and that will allow any bubbles to come to the top. So now that it's there, we've done the flip cup pour. We're done with our polyester resin. We're gonna let it sit there for till next morning. It'll probably be another 8 or 9 hours, and then we'll go from there. With polyester resin, Tim, if you're putting it under pressure, you can do it as minimal as 4 hours. However, if you're going to put it under pressure, I recommend you just wait in the 8 or 9 hours. If you cast at night, it's really easy because then you can just open it up the next morning before you go to work if you're like me, because you're too excited and can't wait to see the results. Matter of fact, I didn't keep time. I wonder how long our Alumilite's been underneath there. I feel like we've hit our 30-minute mark. We can actually pull our Alumilite out of the pressure pot. So we're at 80 degrees here. Once it starts to heat up, the further it starts to heat up, the faster it'll heat up. Liquid diamonds? And then here, we're going to pull the pressure off our Alumilite blank. Perfect, Michael. 45 minutes. We'll take our Alumilite blanks out of the pressure pot.
Because the temperature?
Still warm, but sorry guys, I'm trying to get something off my hand real quick into the trash can. But here's our Alumilite pour. So that stoner really works. As you can see, pops right out. And that's our Alumilite cast. It's still warm to the touch, guys, so I'd recommend you letting it cool down before you cut into it. Just allows that curing process to fully happen. But that being said, that you can see the hint of the the midnight purple around that sunrise yellow, and then the chocolate, which is our accent color, got a good coat around it, so it looks pretty good. Sharon, these are P-Town Subby. Here, we'll just set this over here. These are, see it in view. Maybe I can lean it up so you guys can kind of see it better. These are P-Town Subby molds, and they're available actually at turnerswarehouse.com as well as ptownsubby.com. If you're interested into the liquid diamonds, Chad also at Turner's Warehouse carries the liquid diamonds as well. Okay guys, well, we have a little bit of time to kill. So, do you guys want to do another polyester resin flip cup pour, or do you want to do a Alumilite blank? Or if you want, I can show you guys how to do vertical.
Purple would make too much sense. Hey, how you doing?
Or I can show you guys how to cast in a vertical mold. Anybody have any preferences? You just want me to roll with it? I know there's a delay, so I'll wait for a second. Cast in the vertical mold? Okay, not a problem. We'll what we'll do is vertical. Okay. Do you want Alumilite or polyester resin? 2-color PR in vertical. Done, Michael. You made it easy on me. So we'll take 2 colors. Let's say we'll do teal. This is the Caster's Choice teal color. And, what would be a good color to mix with teal? Do y'all want silver, gold? First person I see the comment wins. Silver, gold. You got pink, copper, vibrant pink.
Copper.
Copper, okay.
What is that?
Teal and antique copper. You're not logged into the live cast.
I can.
Live cast guys win. Okay, so I'm going to replace my gloves because they were kind of sticky. So we're going to do a 2-color polyester resin pour real quick, and we're going to do it with teal and antique copper. So I can show you guys some tips and techniques on how I like to pour per se. So we'll get our cups out, and we'll just mix 4 ounces for this. Randy Conrad, welcome back, sir.
Is the orange on the polyester resin creeping inward?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question, Mike. So, with polyester resin, it takes it a second to really start to cure. So, with any flip cup pour, what you're going to have is you're going to actually have the resin come around, and as it comes around, that motion, as it's setting up, it starts to bleed into the top before it sets up. It's that initial swirl when you do that dump. Or when you dump the cup. So what you're looking at is you're looking at the outer edges of that resin swirling back over the top. Gene, I haven't added any dye because Caster's Choice is a new to market product that Mica that I brought, and it is a direct Pearl X replacement, guys. If Pearl X works, it'll work. However, I kind of want to show you guys the true colors of the actual mica itself. We'll stir our liquid diamonds real quick. Right, Mike, because as I vibrated, what I did is I just helped it come around. So we're going to introduce we're doing a polyester resin 2-color pour into our vertical mold. Vertical mold, guys, is from ptownsubby.com or available at turnerswarehouse.com. If he used to have a 6 blank, I just double tealed it, didn't I? All right. So we'll do 2 different types, 2-color pours. I got a little bit distracted. Sorry, guys. So vertical molds, the same thing. Available at P-Town Subby. You got the pink molds are best for polyester resin. or Alumilite, and then you have the blue epoxy mold that's best, or the blue molds that are best for epoxy casting. Anytime that you cast with Alumilite or epoxy, you want to make sure you use the Stoner mold release. The Stoner is going to allow that to demold easy, and it's going to lengthen the life of your mold. Guys, black is the only Caster's Choice color I do not have on the table. There's that teal. We've got teal and silver. We can do teal and antique silver, it's actually a very dark silver. Let's do that. Let's do antique silver. It's kind of a halfway mix between black and silver, and it looks awesome. So this right here, guys, is our antique copper and teal. Corey actually made a
It's in the house.
do you want to grab it real quick? Yeah. Corey actually turned a one of the actually the first teal blank that I ever cast with the new Caster's Choice. It was teal and silver cigar pen, and he's running inside to go grab it real quick. It was a pretty sharp looking pen. And then antique silver for our last color. I'm going to touch the edge of them real quick. So this right here, guys, is that teal and silver pen. And then this right here is just a, it's a flip cup. It's a teal and gold flip cup pour that we did. Kind of hard to see in this light. If I can get the phone to focus. So,
You can see it.
but look, came out pretty well. Pretty good. Good looking pens. And it's the cigar pen kit, which is one of my favorite too. Okay, so this right here is going to be our antique silver. So it's real dark, but as it turns, it's got that silver hue to it. If you guys haven't cast with this, it's like it's almost a perfect balance of black and silver. The antique silver is definitely a cool color. We have our antique copper. And then our teal. So guys, this is going to be the same part as above, or as earlier. We're going to do 6 drops per ounce. We've got 4 ounces in there, so it's going to be 24 drops of MEKP. So wear safety precautions, guys. Wear gloves as a skin irritant, and wear eye protection. If you drop this with it off, it can spray up into your eye. So here we go. Let's get the time. It is 9:59. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay? So we're going to mix these real quick. And like I said, it's 12 to 15 minutes, guys. So what we'll do is we'll wait 2 or 3 minutes before we introduce the MEKP there to give us a little time difference. And then that means that it'll be ready at 10:11 to 10:14. Your feed dropped out. How many ounces are you doing the vertical? These are 4 ounces in each cup, so 8 ounces total. So just for anybody that's catching up, we've got liquid diamonds in the background heating up. One of the great things about liquid diamonds is it takes a little while to heat up, guys. It takes a little while to set up, and I absolutely love it because you're not in a hurry. It's not rushing you to hurry up and get it done. Ooh, we're at 90 degrees, so we've raised up 30% or 30 degrees. So all we've got's another 35 degrees or so, and we're good to go. 45 gram cavities in the vertical mold volume by weight. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, for everybody who doesn't know, Fred Wisson, who's actually commenting about 18 ounces for the whole mold, is the creator of his silicone molds. He's the guy that actually makes them. So if y'all have any questions, he's the guy. Normally I or Chad Schimmel can answer, but he's definitely the one to go to. He is the man when it comes to molds. And then what we'll do is we'll wait. Oh, we're actually good. So we'll wait till 10:03 to mix the other one, which will have us pouring at 10:15 to 10:17. Or I'm sorry, 10:18. Okay, so we've got our MEKP introduced there. Let's introduce our 24 drops into this side now. So 24 drops, guys, which is 6 drops per ounce because it's a cold night. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. If it was 90 degrees, we'd be doing 4 drops per ounce. If it was 100 degrees, we'd probably still be doing 4 drops per ounce. We would just set up at the 10-minute mark rather than the 12-minute mark. There is a such thing, guys, as using too much MEKP. Per the manufacturer's directions, you want to stay at 1%, 1 to 2%. That is 10 drops per ounce maximum. That's a lot of MEKP. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Give it a good mix. Scrape the sides as you reverse your stir. And with polyester resin, guys, you cannot over mix it. With any resin that you pour, you cannot over mix it. Okay. So we've got our teal and copper 1, teal and antique silver is the second half, and our polyester resin blank, or our polyester resin pour, guys, is starting to set up. How we can tell it's starting to set up is if you look at the mold, and I'll pick it up in a second, it actually looks rocky on the top. So it's still pliable, it's still bendable, so you can still move it, shape it, mess with it, but it's actually starting to set up, and you can see if I can get it in the film. If you see how rocky it is, it's the number one sign. There you go. It's the number one sign it's starting to set up. So it probably moved for a minute or so before it set up. That's a really good sign that we poured it at the right time. So if you dump the cup and it sits like that for 3, 4, 5 minutes and then it starts to bubble, you poured it just a hair too early. So the liquid diamonds, you can actually feel it on the cup. It's barely starting to get warm. So we're at 98 degrees. So it's slowly coming up there. Silver's a hair behind. So we'll keep stirring our polyester resin. Remember, you can't over stir it. We'll keep an eye out on the time. Do y'all have any questions so far? Is there anything that I'm not explaining well enough, or is there anything?
Clear as mud.
Tim, if I'm not, let me know, guys. If I'm leaving any of you guys in confusion or anything, that's the goal, is to kind of make it easier for everybody to be able to cast and have a little bit more confidence when than just diving into the deep end. I'm here for you guys. If you have any questions at all, shoot me a PM. I do have a kind of demanding day job, so if it takes me a second, if it takes me a second, sorry about that, but I'll get to you as soon as I can. Correct, Mike. If you were to pour, 2 at one time, or we could do that with the liquid diamonds if you want. We can just pour them in if you want and kind of show the results there. But correct, the flip cup pour is a technique that I took from acrylic painting. That it's kind of my signature move, which is why I like to do it every time I get a chance. Plus, it adds to the craziness, and it's you never know what you're going to get. So the copper is starting to thicken up. If you can see, oh, I almost got it. Well, you see the big bubbles, and then as I'm stirring it, you can see it start to grab that side of that cup. Maybe I can't now. Maybe a lighter color. There you go. If you notice, right when on the stir, it starts to grab. It's not smooth as glass. That's your number one sign. It's a lot easier to see in real life than it is through the camera. Dave, welcome back, sir. We got one. It's starting to thicken up pretty well, but we'll have one more minute. We'll push it to that 10-11 mark before we pour it. There's that teal color. That is another true statement, Tim. Okay, so we're ready to pour. So guys, this right here is how, in my opinion, everyone has the opportunity to make their blanks their own. And what I mean by that is when you're pouring, okay, try crazy things to do. I mean, you can literally just pour 50-50, but there's different techniques you can do. You can do like a ripple technique where you go back and forth and just kind of go like this. You can do a spiral technique where you just kind of spin them the whole time. You know, you can, there's that. You can, you know, do a lot of teal and a lot of copper and a lot of teal and a lot of copper and a lot of teal. You can do that. I mean, you can, you can, you know, I personally like the kind of just the random spins, guys. I kind of like to just mix it up. All I'm doing is kicking them randomly back and forth, and it gives you a really nice, very nice sporadic blank to it. Same thing, this is polyester resin, guys. You can tap it, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 times if you're worried about any bubbles that are come to the top. When you are casting polyester resin in Fred's vertical molds, I recommend you guys pouring it to where it has the dimple on it. You see how it's above the, it's not just to this vertical blank line, it's above it. Every single one is sitting above it. As polyester resin shrinks, so that bubble is going to go from here. That bump is going to come from here, and it's actually going to suck into that mold, and it's going to make it a lot easier to get out with the air compressor. So that was our teal and our antique copper. Thanks to Tim and Jim Hines for recommending those colors. Then last but not least is this antique silver and teal. Give the liquid diamonds a good stir real quick. Oh yeah, we're gonna wait one more minute and then we'll mix our teal and antique silver combo. Antique silver is really cool, guys. Another number one sign is big bubbles. You can see how these big bubbles are popping up? That right there is telling you that your polyester resin is thickening up and you're good to pour. So here we go. This will be our teal and antique silver. Like I said, make this your own, guys. Find your own technique. If you want to do Z's, you know, and just do Z's back and forth. If you want to do circles, if you want to do it however you want to do. You caught me, Tim. The bottom right silver, this one has the rest of the blaze orange that we poured with polyester resin earlier. We'll fill it up, that way we can get it out easier next time. So you just, like I said, you take the circles, you can do Z's, you can kind of make this your own. Play with your technique, and everybody's going to find a way to cast that works well for them and gives them the results that you want. Let's see if we can get one more blank out of this. Might be a partial. Completely better than wasting it. If I have enough to get a half blank, guys, I'll pour it, and then I'll just you wait until I have enough to finish the rest, or take the air nozzle and spread it out. Tap this a couple times. It looks like we got a couple bugs in our mold. We did a hybrid cast on accident. We got a couple black beetles in our mold. So pick those out. Been a real problem here. You don't see them for a week, and then all of a sudden you've got 300 in your shop. But so that right there, guys, is the antique silver and teal and the antique copper and teal. It's how you do it 2-color pour in the vertical. It's polyester resin, so we don't need to put it in the pressure pot. We just set it aside and let it cure. The liquid diamonds is actually warm to the touch now. I can actually feel the warmth pretty easily on the cup. I don't have to think about it. It's just when I grab it, it's warm. It's kind of the #1 sign that it's starting to heat up for you. We've already got our blue mold sprayed with our stoner. That's that white dust that you kind of, it looks like that's on is that dried stoner. Ooh, we're at 107 degrees, guys, so we're almost there. We could honestly pour it right now and still have good results. We could pour right now, but I'd rather, you know, if you guys are watching and you're able to keypad in, let me know where you guys are watching from. I'm pretty curious about where everybody's at. I know Fred's in Virginia. I know Randy was on earlier. He's in Texas. So if you guys wouldn't mind giving a shout out of where you're watching from, and if you haven't had a chance, like Turner's Warehouse page. Chad's always coming up with new stuff. He's always got new videos, helpful tips and tricks, and always has new products up for sale. So it's pretty good place. Chicago, Illinois. I'd say Illinois, but I know it isn't that noisy.
I say noise.
It's, yeah. Is the Alumilite blank cool enough to... Sorry guys, I'm an old mechanic, so my underarm is a lot more... You know?
Cut it.
Let me, Jim Hines is behind me. He's gluing stuff, but when he gets a second, let me ask him. He might be able to tell me if he thinks it's good enough to cut yet. He's gluing blanks in, so we're in no particular hurry. We still have about 15 to 20 degrees on the liquid diamonds. Sharon, California, North Carolina. Randy, you're not at my house. I think it's...
Okay.
You want to do it?
How you want it done? This way or this way?
No, this way.
That one? Okay.
Well, Jim Hines is going to cut it on the table saw for us. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I know.
Fortunately, I got Jim here, so he's able to do that while we're on the live cast. So it'll work out really well. With the polyester resin, guys, you know, this stuff takes 6 to 8 hours. So you can tell it's solid enough to pull from the mold, but it shrinks. So as it cures, it's going to shrink about 1/8 of an inch inward on both sides. Which is why you don't need mold release. Since polyester resin shrinks when it cures, it just pops right out of the molds.
3/4 ring?
It'd be 7/8.
Even with the curve?
Yeah. Fairview, Oklahoma. Trying to think if I've ever been to Fairview, Oklahoma. Charleston, South Carolina. I heard it's really beautiful, Bill. I heard Charleston's really beautiful in the fall. Yeah. I got a 2-car garage, guys. Y'all are more than welcome to come and hang out on the live cast, but I'm kind of coordinated in my little zone, so it might be a little boring to hang out with. However, I have knocked over like stuff on the shelf. I knocked over my drink, which got Corey scrambling there for a second. Jim's about to turn on the saw, guys, so pardon the noise, but we're going to get to see some awesome blanks out of it, so it's really going to be worth it. What's that, violet purple? This right here should be the Brian, if you had a partial fill vertical mold, could it be topped off the next day with leftover material from another pour? Will the cold joint bond? Absolutely, Tim. If you're pouring liquid diamonds onto liquid diamonds, if you're pouring Alumilite onto Alumilite, and if you're pouring polyester resin onto polyester resin, absolutely that cold joint will bond. As long as there's no dust or anything in between the two. So if it's next day, you shouldn't have any problem. That being said, if you have epoxy on the bottom and you pour polyester resin on top, they will not bond. I don't know what it is, but you can literally take the piece and throw it down and they'll just pop apart. Yes, sir, Justin. That noise you hear in the background is Jim Hines cutting that Alumilite block on the table saw. So we were able to cast the Alumilite block earlier on tonight's live feed, and now we can actually see the results. So guys, we're at 113 degrees. Mic shortness. So currently, I've been selling my blanks when I've just had a chance to. When I have had a chance to do it. So okay.
No, show them all the colors.
Hold on one second. So guys.
Real good right there.
This is actually the end cap piece to it, so you can see how that chocolate sparkles. But here are the blanks that we did the flip cup pour with the Alumilite tonight, and this is the Midnight Purple, which is the real dark purple. It's got the chocolate. There you go. That kind of shows the colors without the light. And the Sunrise Yellow. So there you go. There's our results for tonight's flip cup Alumilite pour.
Terrible.
Give me one, and tomorrow it'll be a pin, and I'll post a picture.
So, yep, there's our results. It's kind of cool that we could do it. Yep, 30 minutes at 40 psi is all we. Well, I think we left them in for 40 minutes or so. I think we left it with 40 minutes or so. But yes, if 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes under 40 psi, Alumilite, you can pop it. As long as we pulled it at 45 minutes, the block was still warm, guys. So if the block is still warm, that means it's still curing. So I always recommend setting aside when it cools down, then you can cut it up. I don't ever recommend cutting up a hot block. It's still curing, so it's going to give you gumminess. It's not going to be perfect. And that is the hardest part of resin casting and blank making, guys, is waiting that time. Jeff, you can turn that Alumilite blank very soon. Ooh, we're almost there, guys. We're 5 to 15 degrees. 130 to 140 degrees is the best time to cast liquid diamonds when color. So we're almost there. Silver's just a hair behind, but it's close enough that it'll be okay. How soon can you turn it? I've heard of guys turning it in an hour or so. Personally, I'd wait at least a couple hours, but I mean, if you waited 6 to 8 hours, I don't see any reason. You shouldn't have any issues. I'll put it to you this way: if I mailed it to you, by the time it got to you, it'd be perfect time for you to turn it. Thank you, Jim, for cutting those blanks up for us.
De nada. What?
Justin, if you want me to be honest with you, the reason that the silver is 5 degrees different is because I mixed these two immediately, and then I took a second before I mixed the Part B with this one. So it's just it's as simple as I didn't do them all at one time. I got off to talking or did 2 of them and then allowed a 30-second or minute gap in between the 2. Liquid diamonds, guys, it does have some it doesn't have a strong odor to it, but it does have some warning hazards. So it's just one of those. I do recommend casting it in a shop or in a garage, but I don't recommend casting it at your kitchen table by any means. Okay. Moment of truth. Got a couple more degrees, guys. And we'll do a liquid diamonds flip cup pour, and then we will put it into our pressure pot. And that's here at my feet. And then liquid diamonds, I recommend the hotter the temperature, the faster anything else cures, guys. If this is 100 degrees, the 5 to 7 minutes, it's going to be more closer to the 5 minutes. If it's 100 degrees, these are going to set up more in the 30-minute time rather than the hour time because it's 60 degrees here. So, that being said, it's 60 degrees. It's supposed to be 60 degrees all night and all morning. I'll probably leave these in the pressure pot for a solid 10 hours minimum, and give it plenty of time to cure up before I cut them. It's all about time. Same as this. I'm not going to rush it by any means. Just made a little mess. Yeah, paper towels, guys. Paper towels and rubber gloves are definitely key factors. And that liquid diamonds, I mean, you can hold it in your hand. It's just really warm to the touch at 130 degrees, which is where we're at right now. So, we are ready to do well, we can do a flip cup pour, but as somebody mentioned earlier, why don't we just pour it in the mold? it'll kind of give us the opportunity to show the difference between a flip cup and it is liquid diamond, so it's a pretty thin resin, or it's a pretty thin epoxy, so you don't want to mix it as much. So let's do that. Let's just pour it into it. Steve, welcome to the live feed. Okay, so here we go. We'll do silver as an accent color. So what we'll do is we'll take these. With thin resin, guys, the faster you pour it, the less it'll mix. So we'll pour these kind of fast, like we're just dumping them. Like so. And then we'll come over here in our silver. And this is where you can get creative. You can zigzag pattern across the whole thing. You can just dump it in the center. You can do whatever you want to do. And we did a hair too much, which is A-okay. Now, we'll take our napkin, our paper towel, and wipe off everything we spilled. And we'll put it in the pressure pot. I haven't had a chance to get one of Fred's mold racks just yet. Fred at P-Town Subby has these mold racks that are made out of HDPE that you can actually slide your mold onto, and then just take the whole rack and put it in your pressure pot. But I haven't had a chance to pick one up yet, but after spilling half of this into the pressure pot, I might pick it up next week. Okay, right now we're doing the same thing we did earlier. All I'm doing is I'm tightening the clamps on top of my Harbor Freight pressure pot. Harbor Freight is a decent pot that you can get at a very cost-effective rate, but keep in mind that it is not the highest quality pot. I only recommend taking it to 45 PSI maximum. I know it says 60 PSI is the highest rating, but I would never recommend maxing out any pressure pot at its highest rating. So, got the clamps tight, and then we will put it at 40 pounds per square inch. Alright guys, liquid diamonds is in the pressure pot, and it will sit there for 8 to 10 hours till tomorrow morning. It's really good colors. I think they're going to come out awesome. Yeah, Tim, you said it before, you typed it before I could say it. I think it's going to be awesome as well. So, guys, we casted Alumilite, we casted polyester resin, and we cast liquid diamonds. I hope I answered any and everybody's questions. If I missed your question, by all means, please, private message me, comment below. I'll do a quick polish on those Alumilite blanks and comment on the Turner's Warehouse feed in case you guys want to see how they came out on in the light. But yeah, I hope you had a blast, and thanks for coming and hang out. Y'all have a nice night.